Evolution is one of my favourite topics to talk about. The sheer simplicity and beauty of it makes it one of the most important scientific revelations of our time. I absolutely love reading about it and learning about all the little intricacies that exist within the topic. So when I see people doubting evolution and going as far as saying that textbooks are lying about it, then I get a little bit annoyed. And today we're taking on one of the most prolific doubters ever, Kent Hovind. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, I think we're all going to need a coffee. Only joking, that's how I used to make coffee before I discovered Trade, who are sponsoring today's video. I love coffee, can't get through a day without it, and judging by all of your responses from the time I made that coffee, so do you guys as well. The thing I love most about coffee is the wonderful flavours that you get, and with that instant rubbish that I drank in the past, you got none of that. It felt almost plastic compared to ground coffee. And that is why Trade is absolutely the best thing to happen to coffee. They have over 400 coffees from over 50 roast partners, all of which can be matched to you based on your personal tastes. Not only that, but it is ethically sourced at an unbelievable price, bringing you the freshest coffee you've ever tasted. This is how I make my coffee now, and after taking Trade's quiz, they match me with this particular coffee, and it's perfect for me. Nice and soft, not too strong, with a hint of flavouring, just how I like it. Trade is giving the first 100 of you that click this link 30% off your first coffee. Just click the link in the description and use my code SIMANDAN. Right, back to today's video where Kent Hovind is apparently going to tell us all of the lies that textbooks tell us. This video is so big and so full of holes that I'll be tackling it in two parts. Today will be part 1 and next Tuesday will be part 2. Can't wait for this. Take it away, Kent.
Theodore, they misspelled his name on kahanacademy.org. I'll help you out, guys. His name is not Theodus. Check it out. Okay, it is, but I left it just like you said it. Dobzhinsky said, "Nothing in biology makes sense except in the light of evolution." And they use this quote all the time, all over the internet. Nothing makes sense except in the light of evolution. Like evolution is the light which illuminates all facts.
Well, it kind of is when it comes to biology, zoology and the natural world.
They are absolutely stark raving mad, berserk. It's insane. Now, there's no question, I agree, he probably said that. Dobzhinsky probably really believed what he said. I disagree, though, that his belief, no matter how strong, makes it true. Just because he said something doesn't make it true.
A very interesting statement, and one in which I will come back to once we've finished here. But anyway, he said that because it was true. Him saying it didn't make it true, it was already a factual statement.
Just because they draw lines on paper doesn't make them related. Use your head, okay? Nothing in biology makes sense except in the light of evolution. Well, he probably did say that, and he probably really meant it, but it's not true. And on that crazy website, kahanacademy.org, I just typed in evidence for evolution. They say, well, there are 3 lines of evidence: structural, microbiology, and direct observation. This is simply a lie. None of these lead to the conclusion of evolution.
But just because you say that, Kent, it doesn't mean it's true. You see how easy this is going to be from now on?
And for structural, they'll say, see, the humans, the cats, the whales, the bats all have similar bone structures in their arm. Now that is true, that is a fact. That does not lead to the evidence, to the observation or the conclusion that evolution is true.
Well, no, but it does prove that all these animals are related somehow, and it is very, very strong evidence that they all came from the same ancestor. You absolutely cannot deny that.
He said, how is that similar? He said, they have the same name.
They have the same name, humorous. Yeah, who named it? The cat? Oh, that's my humorous. Yeah, okay, I'm sure the cat really didn't care.
Whoever that genius was in the background, I would have edited him out. Is he really asking how all the animal groups came up with the same names for our bones? He's genuinely using that as an argument, isn't he? Wow. Of course, I don't have to tell all you guys that because mammals all have similar bone structures, then we can name the bones in other animals because they match ours quite well.
So, I agree that many animals have a similar four-limb structure. I think maybe all mammals do. Okay, I can't think of one that doesn't. But what does that prove? It doesn't prove a common ancestor. It could prove a common designer.
Well, it doesn't prove that though, does it? For the same reason that you argued that it doesn't prove evolution. Yes, they are similar, but that fact alone doesn't prove that they came from the same designer, or one at all.
I have worked on... Huh?
Not it could, it does.
It does, yeah. I've worked on quite a few cars. Brother, you have too. I've had 130 cars. Let's see, 14 Toyotas, 14 Volkswagens. Most of the cars I've worked on are held together with either bolts or screws. Would you say Honda uses bolts and Toyota uses bolts and Chevy uses nuts and bolts and, you know, do most cars use nuts and bolts to hold things together?
Yes.
Yeah. Does that prove they all evolved from a skateboard, or does that prove that's a good way to build cars, to bolt them together?
Yes, you heard that correctly. He actually did argue that. Words fail me sometimes.
It's a good design. This is a good design for four limbs. That's all. It's a good design, which means designer. Stop lying to the kids and tell them that's proof of evolution. Homology and analogy, lines of evidence. If they're similar, that proves they're related. If they look the same, but they're not similar, they're still related. Everything they see is evidence for evolution. In evolutionary biology, the term analogous pertains to various structures in different species having the same function but have evolved differently. So a butterfly has a wing, a bird has a wing, and a bat has a wing. Look at that, boys and girls, similar structures, they have wings. Now we know they're not related, and we know, but this proves they evolved different. In their mind, that's what they say, this proves they evolved differently.
Not just differently, separately. In your example, the wing has evolved 3 different times independently from each other. Again though, we have evidence of each individual evolutionary track.
Everything is evidence for their theory. You've got to be kidding. Thus, do not share common ancestor. Examples of analogous structures are as follows. Wings of insects and birds used for flying. biologyonline.org. Look, if the birds have a wing and the bats have a wing and the butterflies have a wing, maybe that's because it's a really cool design and they can fly in the air.
It evolved because flight was necessary for that species or group of species for them to survive. That is all. There is no foresight with evolution. It doesn't know that it's forming 3 different wings in 3 different species at 3 different times. It just happens.
Maybe there's a really smart God. By the way, how did the butterfly evolve from its metamorphosis process, going from a worm caterpillar into a butterfly in the cocoon? How many died trying to do that one before they finally figured it out?
What an astonishingly ignorant statement. I mean, seriously. Evolution is a long, slow and steady process. Insect metamorphosis doesn't just happen overnight after millions of tries. And this is the key problem. Most people that argue with evolution don't fully understand it.
Okay, boys and girls, we're going to wrap ourselves up now in a silk cocoon and hang here for 21 days or whatever it is, and come out as a butterfly. Some of them hang there with their head up and their tail down. They spin their cocoon, but when they come out, the head is down. Whoa. Think about that for 5 minutes. Okay.
Or you could just learn about the process. The caterpillar becomes broken down into a soup-type liquid with some organs and cells staying intact. The butterfly then regrows from this soup of cells and organs. Simple as that.
Comparative anatomy. Analogous structures. Here it is, right off. All of this is right off the internet today, okay? Analogous structures. Hey, welcome back. You made it in, okay? Analogous structures. Body parts are similar in function, but different in structure. Means they're not closely related. They had to evolve separately. Homologous or analogous? How is a student with a brain supposed to answer this question? Boys and girls, Dragonflies have wings, birds have wings. Is this homologous or analogous? How's a kid with a brain supposed to answer that question?
Well, if you listened when you were taught the meaning of the words, then you would know that they were analogous. Simples.
What if they answered, teacher, neither one? They were both designed. Would he get the question right or wrong? Probably mark it wrong, probably put him in detention.
Well, that's a bit harsh. You'd never punish a child for getting an answer wrong. Ludicrous.
They're giving two choices. Which is correct? 2 and 2 are 6 or 2 and 2 are 8? None. Neither one, okay? They're giving them two false choices here. Evolution evidence. Analogous structures. Here it is again. Separate evolution of structures. Yes, they must have evolved separately, but came to the same idea. Yeah, the butterfly had a brilliant idea. Let's make a wing. You've got to be kidding.
Well, I'd hope that you were kidding, because at the moment you're not really helping yourself. Kent moves on to the eyes of squids and humans.
Support for evolution. Comparative anatomy. Here it is. Analogous structures. Example, human eye and squid eye. Did you know squids have an eye and humans have an eye? That proves we're related. In their itty-bitty brain, it does. That's all they need. Similarities. The iris to regulate light entering the lens. Did you know you have an iris that determines how much light comes into your eye? And so does the squid. That proves we're related. In their mind, doesn't it?
Unfortunately for him, Kent has picked an awful example to make his point. Let's allow him to gather some more rope before I tell you why shortly.
How is a kid supposed to go to school and learn this garbage and come out normal? Each eye is filled with fluid. Oh, there you go. The eyeball's filled with fluid. Yeah, that's proof we're related. Well, think about it. If it was solid and somebody poked you in the eye, it wouldn't have any give to it, and you would probably go blind first poke in the eye. Anybody ever been poked in the eye before? You can get all that because of this bump on the back of your eye. And they're both filled with fluid because it gives them some flexibility. Both eyes use a lens to focus. See, this, boys and girls, is support for evolution. I don't understand how you guys, A, how you teachers can be so dumb to believe this, and B, how you can be such a liar to teach this to the kids. How do you collect your paycheck with an honest heart?
Well, Kent, I am so glad you have asked. You see, you have picked the wrong example here, and I'll tell you why. Technology today is quite simply wonderful. You can map the genes of any creature you want. The human genome, of course, has over 3 million base pairs, and we know all of them. Now, it has been discovered that the eyes of the squid and our own eyes evolved because of tweaks to the exact same gene. It's called the PAX6 gene and is responsible for the construction of the eye. Now, we have got evidence that that PAX6 gene has evolved to create eyes in two very different species, but in two very similar ways. If that is not proof for evolution, I don't know what is. The teachers teach this because it is the truth. It really is as simple as that. And for you to sit there and question the morals of these people that have spent their entire lives studying this sort of thing, is appalling. Right, let's leave Kent for today and we'll come back next week and dissect the rest of his video with similar ease. Thank you all very much for watching today. Remember, Trade is giving the first 100 of you 30% off your first coffee if you click this link. It will be in the description. If you enjoyed it today, then please do like and subscribe. I have been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great week, and I'll see you all on Friday where Nathan Oakley returns. See you then.